What if I told you that your perfect morning routine, the cold shower, the meditation, the gratitude journal, is the main reason you procrastinate and feel drained before 10 a.m.? It sounds crazy, I know. You follow the guru's playbook to a T, doing everything they say will lead to a high-performance day. But when it's time to sit down and do what really matters, where's the energy? Your mind feels foggy. The simplest task looks like a mountain, and the guilt hits hard. You're not lazy. You've been robbed. In this video, I'm not going to give you another list of 5 habits of success. On the contrary, I'm going to introduce you to the 3 silent thieves hiding behind trendy routines. Thieves who, without you even noticing, steal your decision-making energy, your authenticity, and your ability to deal with real life, leaving you mentally bankrupt before the game even starts. But we won't just stop at the problem. Most importantly, I'm going to give you the map to build an elastic routine, a simple and counterintuitive system that doesn't break when life happens, that gives you more energy instead of stealing it, and that works for actual human beings, not productivity robots. This is the end of the war against yourself. Before we reveal the first thief, I want to hear from you. What was a habit or routine you tried to copy from someone else that was a complete disaster for your life? Whether it was waking up at 5 a.m. or meditating for an hour, leave a comment below, because your story will connect with so many other people watching right now. Many people search for the key to a productive day in a morning ritual, believing a rigid sequence of tasks is the secret. They lay out the journal, the meditation cushion, the lemon water, all in perfect order. What few realize, however, is the silent thief hiding in this process. Every small choice, every mandatory task, consumes precious energy. This pursuit of perfection can, paradoxically, be the very source of your fatigue before the day truly begins. Imagine your mind wakes up with 100 energy coins to spend on decisions. Meditating in that specific way costs 5 coins. Journaling about your goals, another 10. Forcing a cold shower, there go another 15. When you finally sit down for your main task, the one that really matters and requires about 50 coins, you look in your pocket and only find 30. This isn't about laziness. It's a programmed mental bankruptcy, where the best of your energy was spent on preliminaries. He saw himself in this trap for a long time, feeling an unexplainable frustration. After completing his perfect morning ritual, he felt ready to conquer the world, but only in theory. In practice, the first task that required real focus and creativity seemed like an insurmountable mountain. The energy to decide, to create, to truly solve problems just wasn't there anymore. He was tired not from the work, but from having to do the things that were supposed to prepare him for work. This obsession with a perfect start to the day makes us spend our best energy on preparation, instead of on the action that yields results. It's like a warrior who spends hours polishing his armor, but when it's time for battle, barely has the strength to lift his sword. The decision thief has already taken the best of him, but perhaps the problem runs even deeper. Where did this idea of a ritual even come from? Was this routine you're trying so hard to follow actually designed for you? The answer to that question, more often than not, is a resounding no. We live in the age of productivity gurus, where every successful influencer sells their morning routine as a treasure map. Eager for a shortcut, we simply copy and paste these rituals into our lives without asking ourselves the most basic question: does this make sense for me? This is the authenticity thief at work, convincing us to be bad actors in someone else's movie instead of the heroes of our own journey. Copying someone else's routine is like insisting on wearing shoes that aren't your size. They might be the most expensive and beautiful pair in the store window, praised by everyone, but the reality is simple. They will hurt you. They will cause blisters, limit your movement, and ultimately keep you from walking properly on your own path. The mistake isn't in wanting good shoes, but in ignoring that every foot is unique. Your biology, your personality, and your current stage of life are your true size. He knows this well, as he lived through this torture himself. He was always a night person by nature, but the pressure to join the 5 a.m. club was immense. The attempt to replicate a successful CEO's routine was a disaster, a daily battle against his own body. His sharpest mind, his peak productivity, would ignite around 10 p.m., but instead of embracing his nature, he was filled with guilt for not fitting into the right mold. Fighting your own nature is the quickest way to drain your energy and feel like a constant failure. This borrowed routine becomes an unattainable standard of perfection, a ruler that only serves to measure your supposed flaws. And this creates an even more dangerous trap, one that goes beyond fatigue and guilt. What happens when a simple, unexpected event occurs and this perfect, fragile house of cards collapses? What is the mental rule you apply on those days? The answer to that question is the most common and destructive trap of all, the all-or-nothing mindset. It only takes one small thing out of place, the alarm that didn't go off, a bad night's sleep, an unexpected task, for the mind to declare the entire day a loss. If the ritual wasn't executed with military precision, a mental switch is flipped, and permission to procrastinate and self-sabotage is granted. The day is written off before 9 a.m., all because of a single slip-up. Think of it this way. A rigid routine is like a Formula One car. It's an incredible performance machine, stunningly beautiful and precise, but it only works on a perfectly smooth and predictable track. The moment it encounters a dirt road, with its potholes, mud, and unexpected turns, it becomes completely useless. Real life, with all its unpredictability, is not a racetrack. What you really need is not an F1 car, but a sturdy, adaptable 4x4 built for the chaos. The biggest problem with this fragile system isn't just the loss of a productive day, but the emotional weight it carries. You start to live with a constant fear of messing up, of breaking the rules you've set for yourself. The routine, which should be a tool for support, turns into a tyrant, an unforgiving judge. Every failure, no matter how small, becomes proof of your supposed inability, feeding a vicious cycle of frustration and quitting. What if the goal was never unbreakable perfection? What if, instead of building a house of cards that a gust of wind can topple, you could build something that bends with the wind but doesn't break? The counterintuitive solution is right here. The secret isn't having an unbreakable routine, but an elastic routine, an approach that works with life, not against it. But how, exactly, do you build this foundation that is both flexible and powerful? Building this elastic routine begins with radical simplicity, through the first pillar, the minimum viable productive, MVP. The question here is, what is the one, smallest possible action that, if you do it, already sets you on the right path? For him, it was simply sitting in his office chair with a cup of coffee. That's not the goal, it's the trigger. On good days, the writing flows after that. On bad days, just sitting there is the victory that breaks inertia and defeats the all-or-nothing mindset. The second pillar transforms your obligations into options by creating your energy menu. Instead of a rigid, guilt-inducing to-do list, you'll have a menu of small, energy-giving habits. For example, walking for 10 minutes, listening to that song that pumps you up, reading 5 pages of a good book, or doing a quick stretch. You don't have to order everything on the menu. Based on your energy and time, you choose 1 or 2 items. It's the freedom to nourish yourself, not the obligation to comply. The third pillar is the most powerful game changer. It flips the logic of effort and reward. Instead of warming up for an hour before facing your hardest task, you're going to use your initial energy to attack it for just 15 minutes. And after that short focused sprint, you give yourself the prize, a delicious item from your energy menu. This way, the challenging work stops being the monster at the end of the maze and becomes the portal to well-being. Together, these 3 pillars, the minimum trigger, the menu of options, and the inverted reward, form your elastic routine. This is your 404, built for the dirt road of real life. It doesn't require perfection to run. It gives you a starting point on tough or days, choices when you're low on energy, and turns your biggest obstacle into a source of motivation. You finally stop fighting against life and start to dance with it, building real progress, one imperfect day at a time. And so, here we are. The battlefield of your morning no longer has to be a place of war. You've met the thieves, you understand the traps of the perfect routine, and most importantly, you now have the tools. You have the map to build your elastic routine, your 4x4 system, designed not for perfection but for real life. The obsessive search for someone else's ritual is over. The journey to find your own rhythm, your own energy, and your own authenticity has just begun. Now, the real question isn't whether you understood the concept, but what you're going to do with it tomorrow. Are you going to keep wearing the tight shoes someone else sold you, filled with pain and blisters, or will you finally embrace your nature and find what fits? Are you going to keep blaming yourself for not being a robot, or will you use your humanity as your greatest strength? How long will you let a slip-up at 8 a.m. dictate the value of your entire day? Knowledge without action is just entertainment. So your challenge today is simple. Grab a piece of paper right now and define your minimum viable productive for tomorrow. What is your sit in the chair with a coffee? Start simple. Start with a guaranteed win. And if you are truly committed to stop following rules that don't serve you and start building a more authentic and productive life, join us on this journey. Subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications, because this is just the first of many conversations we'll have to help you unlock your true potential.